Kia ora koutou, bit of a messy one today. Misclicked into a trade I didn't plan to take, missed my ideal setup, and then ended up jumping into something higher risk. It wasn't my cleanest session, but I still walked away green, and there's always something to learn. In my last video, I had a question on what broker and platform I use. So I'll share that at the end and talk about why I chose them. But first, let's break down the trades. So today I took two trades, one on TGL and one on DXF, one green, one red, and a net profit of $8. So not a huge win today. To be honest, when I first woke up this morning and opened up the platform, SMX and HTZ were the leading gappers, and to be honest, neither of them looked great. HTZ dumped around 7 o'clock, put in a nice 50 cent per share red candle. So that was a no. And SMX was trading around $2, $22.30 or somewhere around there. And that didn't look that great either. Did do a little push just before 7, about 10 or 15 cents over the VWAP, but previously it already made a move, and it was still in the shadow of that previous move of around, I think it was about 50 cents or something like that. So the first stock I saw popping up was TGL around 7 o'clock, just before 7. It started moving, as you can see here. So I first saw it in the second candle here. It sort of made that high and was pulling back. I didn't get in on that candle there. It had pushed higher, but it seemed to be holding support around $4.20, $4.30, $4.26, somewhere around there. And I thought about taking an entry here at 426 on that third red candle there. So it sort of pulled back, and I thought about getting in here around 426. Didn't push the buy button, mainly because it didn't quite meet my stock criteria. It is a continuation stock from the previous day. If I have a quick look here. Yeah, so it sort of popped up yesterday. I think it had news yesterday. I can't remember. But sort of popped up yesterday, pre-market, and then at the open. So it was a bit of a continuation stock, continuation setup. So I didn't really think I should take a trade on it, as it didn't quite meet my A quality stock criteria. Did give opportunity though. It did push up to 490, and even though it was a bit of a messy start to begin with, it did a nice sort of clean break here and push up to 490. And then it pulled back to the VWAP, and I watched it pull back here and then break away up to around 480, 482 again. And this is where I made a mistake. So I'd watched it pull back below VWAP, it was coming up here to push through VWAP again, and I accidentally clicked my hotkey to buy in. I got filled straight away, 100 shares at $4.54, so just around this level here. And instead of getting out straight away, I held it. It pulled back and then pushed again, and it hit 460. And I thought, well, if it breaks 460 and I can get 15 cents out of it, then I'll just take that trade and that'll be fine. It didn't break 460, it started pulling back. I didn't get out break even either. Instead, I held, and then it flushed and came all the way back down here. I ended up holding through that, and I think it was it here? I think it was here where I think I ended up getting out. Sort of pushed back up here, and I probably should have got out there. Because I got in that mindset of, I should just hold it until it becomes, break even or gets back there. And I should have just got out there, and I think that was like $8 down. But at least I didn't hold it until it was down here. That would have been terrible. Dropping down, over 30 cents a share or 40 cents a share or something right down here. So if I actually bring up my trade chart, here we go. So yeah, as you can see here, we'll zoom in. Entered just in there around 454, and then yeah, it pushed up here, came back down, pushed up, and could have taken it there. Didn't. It was pushing up again here, so I just took it off the table there as it pushed into a green candle. I think it did actually make it back to 450 at one point, but I'd already spent enough time in this stock holding it, missing out on another stock that popped up around this time. I think it was QURE. Yeah. So that was a trade on TGL. Not a good trade at all, bit of a mistake, and shouldn't have held it, should have got out straight away. Yeah, QURE popped up. This was a higher price stock, and it was trading over $13. So this popped up around 720, 730, or 720. And I think I was still in the trade with TGL when it first popped. And then I did come in and have a look at it after the TGL trade, but just with these big jackknives, jackknife here that consumed the whole of that last green candle. This one here pretty much went all the way back down. It was too risky. I didn't want to get caught in a jackknife and be in here, somewhere in here, and not get out in time, and then it dumps on me. So that was a no trading QURE. And then the next one I took was, what was the next trade I took? It was DXF. What was the next one I did? It's DXF. This popped up around 820. And I saw it, I think it had pushed up and come back down and was sort of around this area here, around $12.26. And this was another one where an entry around 12.20, 12.30 would have been a good entry on this support level there. It showed support here, should have pushed up and came back down and then pushed back up. So an entry in here around 12.20, 12.30, and held for a push back over $13. Would have been a really good trade. Bit of a higher risk though, wider spreads on this stock on DXF. Off the top of my head, I can't quite remember what the spreads were like. But I didn't actually get back in. I didn't actually trade this anywhere in here. I waited to see what it did. It pulled back below VWAP, came back up, tested VWAP, broke VWAP, and then pulled back again. So when I saw it come back down through VWAP and hold around $11, just over $11, I waited to see what it did. It broke through VWAP and held above VWAP just for a little bit, and then it started pulling back again. So I thought I'd come up with a plan to trade the stock. I thought this was a stock that would hold up. It had news, it met my criteria. It was a little bit on the expensive side, and it did have kind of wider spreads, but my plan was this. I'm going to make this a bit bigger so I can show a bit better. So as it was up here, I thought, well, I'm going to wait for it to pull back. It's probably going to break back down through VWAP. I'm going to wait for it to break down through VWAP. I'm going to wait until it hits the bottom of around $11 and then buy in on the upward momentum on the stock. So if it came up to around 11.50, I was going to buy in around 11.50 while it's pushing up back through to VWAP. So that was my plan, was to buy in around 11.50 for the break back to VWAP, and then sell if it as it broke above VWAP. So I was looking at around 50 cents a share, 40 cents a share, something like that for this trade. Did I buy in on the break? No, I didn't. It came back down, it hit $11, well, it hit $10.93, and then it pushed back up. I missed my entry at 11.50 because I hesitated on getting in, and then it came up to VWAP. It hit around 11.96 there at the top and it put in some light volume candles, red, and a light green candle. So I wasn't quite sure whether to buy in here on the VWAP. And it had made a previous high around 12.30. I think it was 12.30. So I could have been in here around, it wasn't 11.50, it was more like 11.80, 11.70 for the pushback higher. I didn't. I watched it rip up to $13, pull back to VWAP again. I didn't take the bounce again here on VWAP. It held VWAP and pushed back to a high of 13.30. This is where I took my trade. On this candle here, green candle here, it hit a high of 13.30. I put an order in around 11.70. No, it's 11.70, 12.70, 12.74, I think it was. Let's have a look. 12.72, yep. So I put an order in for 12.72, and it was still trading up here around $13 at that stage. I placed an order here at 12.72, looking for it to dip back down and then push back up. So it was sort of a dip trade, and I'll bring up the actual trade chart. So yeah, on that green candle there, it pushed up to a high, came back down. I put an order in at about 11.72. It filled me at 11.72 and pushed straight away back up to around $13. I took it off the table straight away. The spreads were, you can see here, the spreads were, 18 cents, 20 cents a share. So I bought on these stocks, whether it's right or wrong, I like to buy on a dip or try and get filled on the bid opposed to buying in straight away on the ask. So that means I get a lower entry, and it doesn't mean I'm buying in and I'm losing 20 cents a share straight off the bat. So I placed an order down here where I thought it would get filled if it dipped. It's got a sort of support level along here from previous. So I put it in a bit higher so I'd get filled. And this was the higher risk trade. I am buying on a dip, so if it was a flush, then I would have been caught in that flush and I would have been straight away probably down 30 cents a share, 40 cents a share. But it dipped and then pushed straight back to come back up to retest the $13 mark. And I got out pretty much straight away, selling on the ask. And I got a fill at $12.97. So 25 cents a share trade, very quick, in and out scalp. And that was the end of my day. I didn't want to take any more trades. And I'm only meant to be taking one trade at the moment. I took two today. I felt that the first one was an accident and it wasn't a planned trade. And even though I ended up holding it for too long and not getting out straight away, I decided to take another trade that was more planned and more thought out. So my first plan was far better than my second one, I got to admit. The taking it here at 11.50 for the pushback and break back through VWAP was a much better plan, buying on the up rather than buying on the dip. But in the end, I walked away with $8 profit, so not that bad a result. Yeah, so that was pretty much it. Didn't really see anything else. After that, it's been a bit of a tough week this week, so I called it a day and went and had an early night. Yeah, so jump in my stats here. So yeah, average winner was 25 obviously, and 17 was average loser with the two trades. And $8 profit, net profit. So this week, walking away with $33. Previous 2 weeks this month have been pretty terrible. Both red, $133 and $492.10. So it's really still in the building back stage, recovering from this drawdown. And even though it's $33, it's a step in the right direction. And it's a gradual recover from this drawdown. So next week, I hope to do the same, is just post green days next week and till the end of the month. And if I can walk away with $15 to $25 each day, I will be happy with that, and that would be good. That still might not mean I'll be green on the month. It will probably mean I'll still be red on the month. But if I get a good trade where I get more cents per share in my trades, then maybe I will. So hopefully next week it will be good. Good movement in the market and gives me some better opportunities. So I had a question on who I use as a broker in NZ and what platform I use. I don't use a New Zealand broker. I actually use an international broker, Trade Zero, and I use their main platform, Zero Pro. I'm not affiliated with them. I chose them because of some of the benefits an international broker offers. I researched their background and they were a reputable company with their international office in the Bahamas. They also had an office in the US and now have opened one in Canada. The main reason I chose an international broker was they don't have to adhere to the PDT rule. So I didn't need to fund my account with over 25,000 USD. I could fund it with only 500 US. They offered 6 times leverage on margin accounts and commission-free trades, although there are conditions to meet to get them. They also offered extended hours trading from 4 AM to 8 PM market time, which appealed to me because of the time zone difference with me being based in New Zealand. I've tried a few platforms, but I am pretty happy with Zero Pro. It's been updated over time with new features, and although I've had a couple of issues with it sort of earlier on, I haven't had any recently. Actually, I might do a separate video on this. Let me know in the comments if it's something that you're interested in. Yeah. So not a perfect session, but a green day is a green day. So this journey is all about showing up, learning from the slip-ups and building confidence over time. If you're on the same path or just starting out, hit subscribe to follow along. I'm sharing every step, win or loss. No trading tomorrow, as it's Easter, so have a great long weekend and I will see you next week. Hei te rā wiki.